God had healed her and she was no longer sick, but it was not the way that I wanted him to. Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. My name is Haley. A little bit about myself. I'm 27. I have a 2.5-year-old son. I had an ectopic pregnancy in February of 2021. That baby's name is Parker. I am also about 7.5 months postpartum to my daughter Magnolia, who was stillborn at 33 weeks. I've been wanting to make this video for a while. This is kind of the whole reason why I started my channel, to speak out about her and speak out about stillbirth, and of course just to share vlogs of my life and my family. But today I want to share her pregnancy story, how we found out all the way through pregnancy, any complications. This is kind of going to be the first part of her story. There's going to be more videos. So I have some notes. So I'm going to be looking down some. But let's just get started. So I found out I was pregnant August 23rd, 2021. I was less than 4 weeks pregnant when I found out. I actually remember, so I went to go take a shower. I took a pregnancy test thinking I could be pregnant, but it was probably too early, and a very, very, very faint line showed up. And after my loss, I was so thankful that I was carrying a child again. And I remember dropping to my knees and crying and thanking God that He allowed me to carry another child. I took my shower and collected myself, walked outside, and told my boyfriend that I was pregnant. I showed him the pregnancy test and we were so excited. A little fact, when I was getting everything together for this video, I actually realized that the day that I found out I was pregnant with Maggie, I was actually I should have been 33 weeks pregnant with Parker, which I just recently found that out, and I was just kind of just a weird coincidence. And there's more. So with Parker, I had only known for about a week that I was pregnant. I had some bleeding and cramps. They felt like really, really bad gas pains, but I knew that something wasn't right. I contacted my doctor's office and they took a little while to get back to me. They told me to watch the bleeding, and if anything gets worse, to go to the hospital. The pain was not going away, so I went to the hospital and I had an ultrasound. They could not find a baby at all. So they ended up finding it. It was in my tubes, and so I had to have emergency surgery. Thankfully, they were able to save my tube, and they thought they weren't going to be able to, so I woke up and I was very thankful of that. That was my first miscarriage ever after a very healthy, normal pregnancy and birth with my son, and I was devastated. So obviously I was extremely excited to be pregnant again. Also extremely nervous, and my first thought was, what if it's another ectopic? So I immediately started looking into a midwife. I wanted to do a home birth this time. I had a hospital birth with my son, and I had a consultation scheduled that weekend. On August 30th, I had my first ultrasound, to see if there was anything to be seen, but there was not. Nothing was found, so they couldn't rule out anything, and they told me to get a blood draw. So I went on August 1st. I had my first blood draw. My HCG levels were 482. So my midwife told me that that does mean that I am pregnant, but it's going to take a little while for my levels to rise. So the next blood draw I had was on September 3rd, and my HCG had more than tripled, and it was 1,884, which is really, really great. They look for it to double, and mine tripled. So I was really excited, and I thought that that possibly could mean that the baby was in the right place. I had done a bunch of research. I was on some groups on Facebook for ectopic pregnancies, and most women said that you won't be able to see anything till about 1,500 HCG level, and mine was higher than that. So we scheduled another ultrasound for September 8th. All my ultrasounds were out of office. My midwife did have a ultrasound machine, but it wasn't like the greatest. So we did get to see her a few times throughout the pregnancy on that, but for most of them I had to go out. So on September 8th, I had that, and we seen a little tiny egg in the right spot, and I had just felt like I could breathe. And I actually remember telling my midwife that, and she said, "I'm so excited for you and Fonda. This seems like it might be your rainbow baby." On October 5th, I had my first real appointment besides the consultation with my midwife. I was about 8 weeks pregnant. On October 6th, I had another ultrasound, a normal ultrasound, which you would have at about 8 weeks pregnant, to confirm pregnancy and to get a correct date. And we got to see her, not knowing that she was a girl yet, but we got to see her, and you could see the little bitty limbs, and she was moving around. The pregnancy after that, I was extremely, extremely nauseous. All the time. I threw up every morning and multiple times throughout the day, and it was nausea all day. And also forgot to say that the week that I believe that she was conceived, the week after that, I got COVID. It lasted about 3 days, but it was pretty bad those 3 days. And then everything was fine. So through COVID, I guess I got COVID at the end of August, and about the end of September, beginning of October, I got parosmia, which is where everything tastes and smells off or bad or just not right. And so it made it even harder, combined with the nausea, to find anything to eat that was not absolutely disgusting. I still have it, and it's been over a year since I got COVID in August. So it's horrible. Everything was great besides that. She was growing. We got to see another ultrasound at the midwife's office. She was moving around. Everything was completely fine. November 16th, we actually were planning to be Team Green. I really wanted to. I didn't want to know what she was. I wanted to be surprised, but my boyfriend just did not want to wait. So we went ahead and did it. And with the NIPT test, the genetic testing, we went ahead and did the gender testing with it as well. And I was about 15 weeks. That was November 16th that I got those results back. Everything came back normal. There was no genetic problems that were found through that test, and we found out that she was a girl. And I remember we were sitting in my son's bathroom. My boyfriend was getting ready for work, and I was sitting there, and he asked me, "Are the results in?" And we had been waiting all week, and I checked every day, and I hadn't checked that morning. And so I checked, and it said they were in. I was so nervous. So it was kind of like in the format of a text message bubble. And it told us everything was normal. All the results came back normal. There was no genetic abnormalities found. And then it said, I have the gender. Would you like to know? And we were both sitting there like, oh my gosh, like this is so nerve-wracking. We hoped it was a girl, but I really did not think I was gonna have a girl. I really thought I was gonna have another boy. And it said it was a girl. And I remember we just jumped up and hugged each other so hard because we were so excited to be having a girl. And I really didn't think that it was gonna happen. I would have been excited if it was a boy too, but you know, everybody wants one of each. Most people do. So shortly after that, we were crying, holding each other. My son woke up and he came into the bathroom and we were holding him and jumping around and telling him, you're gonna be a big brother, you're having a sister. We were so excited. So we had only announced to family, that very close family, that we were pregnant. I didn't want to announce, I had decided not to announce the pregnancy on social media until we knew what she was. With Parker's pregnancy, I had made my son a shirt that says B is for Big Brother, and I had planned on surprising my parents and having him wear that. I never got to do that because we lost her within a week, and so I actually used the same shirt that I had with him, took him to their house for our initial consultation with the midwife. She was going to watch him. She had no idea where we were going. And it took her so long to notice the shirt. And then I was like, did you see his shirt? And she was like, I kind of thought you just put it on him because, you know, because of the other baby. And I told her, no, we're pregnant. And we're going to the consultation today. And so we went and everything. So that's how we told my parents. November 23rd, we announced on social media that we were pregnant, and I'll put a picture on how we did that. It was so cute. So the pregnancy continued. Everything was great, except for I was still nauseous. I stayed nauseous the entire time. It never went away. I was throwing up, but everything else was great. I continued my appointments with the midwife. We were continuing planning our home birth that I was so excited for. In December, I had started getting a rash on my stomach. Her placenta was anterior, so it was on the front of my stomach, not in the back. And so I kind of thought maybe it had something to do with that, but it had no other symptoms. The rash did not go anywhere. So we just kind of said that maybe it was PUPS. The ultrasound jelly would make it worse, and so I was like, well, maybe I'm just kind of allergic to the ultrasound jelly. And I had had quite a few ultrasounds already because of the ectopic pregnancy and then normal ultrasounds, but everything just continued as normal. In January, we finally found her name. It took forever to find her name, and we named her Magnolia Elaine. We started planning her baby shower, which was going to be combined with my son's birthday because his birthday is April 7th and her due date was May 5th. So it was really, really, really close together, and I didn't want family to have to come to two things, so I just tried to combine them. I had everything planned. I had bought things, made the invitation, sent out the event. We were also planning on getting maternity pictures done. I had planned those with a good friend of mine who does pictures. And so we were just very excited for everything, getting ready. We had some 3D pictures done with the same lady that did my son's, and everything was great. She did ask if we had seen a doctor, and she asked if they had seen anything wrong, and not that she was not really giving away anything, but because I am myself and I am aware of medical terms and doctors talking about things, I just kind of felt off about what she said, but I just put it back to the back of my mind. It's like maybe those are just the questions she had to ask. And also on the way to the ultrasound, I did not realize, but it was February 12th on the way to that ultrasound. That is the day that I lost Parker. So just another coincidence with Parker and Maggie. Right after that, I think that following Monday, I had an appointment. She asked me if I had an appointment coming up with my midwife, and I told her yes. And so I got to my appointment with my midwife, and my midwife brought up that the 3D ultrasound lady had seen her intestines seemed like they were enlarged. So that was very worrying. So I had to go to an MFM for another ultrasound, and that was at about 30 weeks, and they diagnosed her with a jejunal obstruction in her intestines. So at that point, I had to be switched to UT MFM, and I started having regular ultrasounds. We were monitoring it, and what they explained it to us was that there could be a blockage, or possibly her intestines did not form correctly, so it could be cut off. But through ultrasound, they can't really tell what exactly is wrong. So they just kept keeping an eye on it. Everything was as planned, though I could no longer have a home birth. I was going to have give birth there at the hospital on the children's side, so that whenever she was born, she could be immediately checked out and possibly taken for surgery. They had seen where sometimes it's just a small blockage, and whenever the baby's born, they poop, they get it all out, and it's normal. But other times they do have to have surgery. So that was extremely concerning, especially when I thought everything was great after feeling so blessed to be pregnant again with a normal, healthy pregnancy. I was already 30 weeks pregnant. But so I started just diving into learning everything about a NICU stay, about what that surgery entails, everything that she's going to have done to her. We met with the NICU specialist. We talked to them about everything, and we were soon supposed to be getting a tour of the NICU so that we could see what it was like. I had a few ultrasounds. After that, everything was fine. This spot in her intestines were growing some, but everything else was fine. Her water was fine. Her brain, her heart, everything was completely normal. I remember every time I would go to the hospital and I had to go to downtown, I would just blast gospel music and just pray that God would heal her and she would come out and she would be okay and she wouldn't need surgery. She wouldn't need to stay in the NICU, that our breastfeeding journey would be amazing, because with this she would have had to need a feeding tube and some kind of nutrition. She wouldn't be able to intake anything into her stomach until she had surgery. So she would have some sort of IV PICC line that would give her nutrients until she had the surgery. So I just prayed and prayed and prayed that everything would be okay and that she would be healed and that she wouldn't need this. And also that if she did need it, that through surgery, she would be okay. Her NICU stay would be the shortest that is possible. They told us possibly around 3 weeks, which doesn't sound too terrible. That was March 1st. The 30-week ultrasound, whenever we found out that she had the problem. March 17th, I went for an ultrasound. Everything was, again, normal. Nothing was wrong. Her heartbeat was great, in the 140s like it always was. We got pictures of her. They always gave great pictures. They always gave us 3D pictures. They were so nice. We even got this little video of her sucking, practice sucking in the womb. But that was the last ultrasound that we would see her alive. The next day, I woke up and I didn't feel her move much at night, which she moved a lot at night, but I did feel a few movements. And I just thought maybe she's just having a sleepy day. So I went on about my day. I went and picked out things to make for her hospital room. This right here. And then this board over here too that has her weight and time she was born and everything. My son has the same ones. So I went and got that all picked out. I had a white dress picked out for my maternity pictures that we were to be taking soon. But I wanted it to be purple. So I got dye for it and everything, and I was going to do that. That evening we had to go do our taxes. So my mom took my son after work, and she was keeping him that weekend. And so we went and got our taxes done and everything. And I still did not feel her move. I felt a few movements, but I was really worried. But at the same time, I was just kind of looking back, I think I was just in denial because I knew it wasn't normal that she wasn't moving a lot. And I was so worried. And my boyfriend just kept telling me it's okay, like, everything's fine. I'm sure she's fine. And we can go to the hospital. We got back from doing our taxes. I went over to my sister. She was cutting one of my friend's hair. She's a hairdresser. We hung out with her for a little while. Got home, came back home at about 11, and I still hadn't really felt her move a lot. So I pulled out my home Doppler, and we could not find it. Could not find her heartbeat. And I was getting something, but I didn't think it was hers. And I couldn't find it, so I asked my boyfriend to please help me because I was starting to really panic. But at the same time thinking there's no way that this is possible. There's no way. And I told him we need to go right now. I messaged my new OB that I had just met with that week before. I had just transferred care to her. My midwife was still seeing me, and she was going to act as my doula in the hospital. And I messaged her that I was going to the hospital, wasn't sure which one I should go to. I was at Memorial Hermann. That's where she worked. So I went to the closest Memorial Hermann to me, not the one in downtown. And that was where we had the very last ultrasound that showed that she no longer had a heartbeat. God had healed her, and she was no longer sick, but it was not the way that I wanted him to. So that was pretty much the end of my pregnancy. And there'll be another part talking about the moment that we got to the hospital, how that happened, how that worked out, how long it took to be seen, and up until, that was the 18th. That was about midnight. So on the 20th we had her. And so the next video will be her birth story, which I love telling. But thank you for watching. I hope you come back for the next part. This was very hard to talk about, but it needs to be talked about. People need to know that this stuff can happen and that you can get through it and you will be somewhat okay. I still miss her every single day. But I'm okay. I'm doing better. But it does get better. So if you're watching this and you're going through the same thing, I'm so sorry. I'm praying for you. And feel free to message me anytime. But thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.